like running window updates. This might interest you. In 2017, May 12 to be precise, there was one attack that happened, one of the most devastating attacks in the world that happened. It is called WannaCry. And how did it happen? It happened because there was a vulnerability in Windows operating system. Then we're still using Windows XP, Windows 7. So there was a vulnerability called Eternal Group, which this attacker saw and exploited. So how did it happen? Even though Microsoft had earlier provided a patch for that vulnerability, some people still did not run that Windows update. So there were some on-patch systems that got affected by this WannaCry. Now, this WannaCry, let me talk about it. WannaCry has element of ransomware and element of worm. So it's a two-in-one. It uses the element of worm to spread across the network. Usually, what a worm does is when a worm affects your system, it replicates, it spreads without user intervention. So this WannaCry was using this element of worm it has to spread across the network. So when it affects the system, it scans through the victims and network. If it sees any vulnerable computer again, it replicates to the other system. And when it does that, what will happen? It will now using the ransomware element it has to display ransom notes to the victim's computer. So the victims started seeing ransom notes on their computer, asking them to pay money in Bitcoin for their data to be decrypted, because their data had already been encrypted by the ransomware. Now, how was this? Why was this effective? This was effective because some users refused to run Windows updates. Windows update is very, very important. Remember I said earlier, Microsoft had already provided a patch for this vulnerability, and they provided it through Windows updates. However, because there were options for users not to run updates or to skip updates or to stop Windows updates, so they did it. So all these computers, most of these computers that were unpatched were affected. Over 200,000 computers were affected across 150 countries, and approximately $4 billion were lost as a result of this. Now, what is the lesson learned from this attack? Number one, Windows update is very, very important, because this attack was targeting vulnerable computers in using Windows operating system. And it was successful because those systems were not patched. So those vulnerabilities were there and they exploited it. So, and uses the worm element in that to spread across the network. So it was spreading very, very fast. Secondly, backup of data is very, very important too. Because if you have a backup of the data, if your primary data is being encrypted and you can no longer access it, you fall back to the backup. Or if you are consistently testing your backup and you are sure that your backup is okay, you might probably not need to pay money to get the something to the data. Very, very important. Then training is also very important. I mentioned in my last video. Very, very important. Let your user be aware of these things. Awareness is very, very important when it comes to cyber threats.